Oh my
Okay,
god,
perfect.
I'm gonna have to go quickly through all of them because
I know there's a lot.
so
We'll get
many.
through as many as we can. So first off, on behalf of Letterboxd, I'm very excited to tell you that Barbie is the most watch-listed film of 2023.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's incredible.
The Barbie community is out, like they are ready for this. But speaking of watch lists, you, Greta Gerwig, have a watch list for us of 29 films that influenced the look and script of Barbie.
Wow.
So let's start off first with Wizard of Oz, because it's actually playing in cinemas in Barbie Land. I noticed
Yes.
on the marquee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Wizard of Oz, I mean, obviously it's just an extraordinary movie and beautiful and beloved, but it does something that I wanted to emulate, which it's these incredible sound stages and these painted skies and this sense of, I say, authentically artificial, which I think is very beautiful and emotional. And I think of the painted backdrop of the Emerald City as they go towards it. And we put, in our movie, we have like the pink brick road instead of the yellow brick road, and we have we also have beautiful painted backdrops of horizons, and we executed it like they would have done in the 30s and 40s and 50s soundstage musicals, and it was something that we kept returning to. And I mean, even in the ending of our movie, which I don't want to give anything away, but I always love the ending where there's almost like there's a sort of ceremonial quality. They go around to each person and they all get their ending, and I kind of wanted to do that sort of thing.
So let's move from Oz to Cherbourg, if that's okay.
Okay,
You want to
sure.
talk about umbrellas?
Oh, sure. So, well, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, that's an amazing movie, and I just astonishingly beautiful. And I loved the use of color, and the sort of surrealness in the color was a big part of it. And Rodrigo Prieto and he shot the film, and he's one of the greatest DPs who ever lived. But talking about that sort of layering the colors and almost how you'd shoot, 5 different shades of pink or red in one shot and not have it overwhelm anything, that you feel like there's separation, but that it's vibrant. It was like looking at all of that, and everything feels painterly, and that was a big part of it.
I also noticed Barbie's hair in one scene was very much like Catherine Deneuve's.
It is indeed.
Yes.
It is. That was definitely a nod to that Catherine Deneuve hair.
Such gorgeous hair. And then I also just wanted to bring up Young Girls of Rochefort, because
Yes,
I was
definitely.
really reminded of that.
Yes, yeah. We had the one of their hats. Yeah. Then we were like, that. I tried to in my list not do every Jacques Demy movie. I mean, the same with Model Shop is another one. Like he does these amazing sort of constructed worlds that operate on their own rules, which is part of it that I was so interested in. They're just delicious.
Yes.
His movies are delicious.
They are.
Yeah.
They're so like pastel and sweet and colorful. I love them so
Yeah, but then
much.
they also have something underneath that's quite moving and deep, and they're great. Yeah.
And then Rochefort also has Gene Kelly.
Oh,
who's
of course,
amazing.
yes, he's my favorite. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And you picked a couple of Gene Kelly films.
Well, Gene Kelly was my favorite. I would have to say, like when I was growing up, Gene Kelly was my crush, which was weird.
No, that's not weird at all. He's dreamy.
Yeah, I mean, I picked American in Paris because of, for lots of reasons, but the opening, he lives in the tiny apartment and everything folds into everything else. And there was something so satisfying about watching him go through his morning routine. That was one of the morning routines I loved. Even though Barbie has much more of an expanse, I was like, this is a great opening. And then they have Leslie Caron in these very graphic, beautiful shots against like an entirely purple room or an entirely green room, and she's going through her day. And that things like that, it was these kind of flourishes that were very almost surreal in that film. And then I also picked Singing in the Rain, which is my favorite movie. And particularly I picked Singing in the Rain, for so many reasons. There's so many great things in Singing in the Rain. But there's the Dream Ballet inside of the Dream Ballet. The Dream Ballet inside of the Dream Ballet is one of the most incredible, beautiful, completely unhinged things. That there's like Don Lockwood's pitching this idea, and then we go into the Dream Ballet, and then even from there, then they go into a deeper Dream Ballet. So there was a space when he's dancing with Sid Sharif's in this space with the stairs and and she's got that long white scarf that floats up. That was sort of how we wanted to model a certain Ken ballet.
Yes, and I was definitely thinking about Singing in the Rain during that scene.
Yeah.
It's
definitely my happiest film.
Right?
Yeah.
And then so speaking of ballets, you also put on The Red Shoes, another great ballet film.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a couple of Powell and Pressburger movies, because there's also Matter of Life and Death. So how did those two influence the look and feel?
Well, the Powell and Pressburger movies to me are, what I love about them is they sort of exist in a category of their own. They're inventive and theatrical and also cinematic, and they do so many things in camera and clever ideas that, like, in Matter of Life and Death, the builds are extraordinary. The heaven, where they have those circles with everybody looking down, is so stunning. And then it kind of has that vanishing perspective of it, and it goes into a matte painting, which is so gorgeous. And then they have things freeze in the movie in the middle of a ping pong game, and they put the ping pong ball on a string so that it's just people holding still, which is such a wonderful conceit. Things like that, I think. The inventiveness is so great. And then I thought a lot about the lighting of A Matter of Life and Death at the beginning when she's talking to the pilot. There's all this light that flashes on her face of different colors, which I was thinking about at the end of the movie. And I was like, it's such a simple thing to do, but changing light on her face is so emotional as she's talking to him. And then the red shoes, there's things of the red shoes all over the movie. There's a shot of her walking up to that house, which I wanted it to feel like that when Barbie walks up to Kate's house. It's like walking up to the house in the red shoes. Ryan Gosling wears a pair of glasses that are like the cat eye glasses that the director wears in it, because I was like, how stylish and bold that man's wearing cat eye glasses. It's so fun. So and Ryan was like, can I wear cat eye glasses? And I was like, you definitely can. And then he had two. And then again, just the theatricality and the colors and the way that it never pretended to be anything other than on a soundstage. I like that. I like that authentic artificiality. It's really heightened, and I think that whole ballet sequence was very inspiring that way.
Yeah, and then All That Jazz also has that artificial authenticity.
Yes. I mean, All That Jazz has like sort of both, because it has that All That Jazz is a masterpiece. I mean, I think it's incredible. And also, so it has like, the very real, like the whole audition sequence at the beginning, which is one of my favorite sequences, where all the dancers are auditioning, but then all the stuff with Jessica Lange and the gods, and then you see that they're on a set, and she's like, that's talking about his life. It's extraordinary, yeah.
And the existentialism aspects also did, like,
of course.
I think I'm gonna die.
Occur to that. Yes, and I think I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that. That's true.
Do you guys ever think about dying?
I think I'm gonna die.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things on here. I don't know. Heaven Can Wait. One thing I love about Heaven Can Wait is it's extremely high concept, but it's always human. Like, there's nothing about it that makes you feel distanced from it. It totally works, even though in some ways it just seems sort of wacky. But actually, when you're watching it, it's so beautiful. But yeah, the sort of when he's talking before he doesn't get on the plane in the heaven, and it's like this expanse of white, and it has all that ground fog. I remember talking to Rodrigo, and I was like, how do we get the ground fog? And he was like, it's dry ice, it can't be done, don't make me do it. And I was like, okay, well, I won't make you do that. Yeah. Oklahoma, the Dream Ballet in Oklahoma is an extraordinary dream ballet. Choreography by Agnes DeMille, the simplicity of that. Women on the Edge of a Nervous Breakdown, colors, the way he layers colors. 2001, I think we all know why.
Yeah.
His Girl Friday, because of how fast they talk.
I was I wanted to ask about His Girl Friday and the Philadelphia Story, because I love Cary Grant so much.
The best.
He was one of our greats, and I'm actually curious. Do you think Cary Grant could have made Ken work?
I think Cary Grant could make anything work, for sure. True. Yeah, yes. But I think His Girl Friday was almost like, it's one of the best fast-talking movies of all time. And then for Philadelphia Story, one of the reasons I loved it, and I said to Margot to watch it for Barbie, is because, you know, Katharine Hepburn describes herself as being like a Grecian statue or something, like she's unflappable, and then she starts falling apart, and that's actually where she kind of finds herself. And it was actually already one of Margot's favorite movies, so she already had that in her back pocket, as it were. Gold Diggers of 1935, it just has this one really surreal dance number with a bunch of steps, and there's like a million tap dancers that go through each other, and it's you can look it up. It's kind of unreal. 20th Century, because to me, Margot reminds me of Carole Lombard, and Ryan reminds me of John Barrymore in how funny he is, and there's scenes where they're just screaming at each other, and I was like, this is perfect. And there's a heightened dramatic thing that John Barrymore does that I showed to Ryan, and then he sort of took that and put it in our movie, and it was amazing. The Ladies' Man, the Jerry Lewis movie, because of the opening, they built this house that was cut out, and then they moved around the rooms with the camera in this one continuous shot with all these girls getting ready. It's incredible, and that's where I got the idea for the mirror that has nothing in it that you look through and it's just her. And then Rear Window for builds, seeing everything. Ship Sails On has great fake sea, and Wings of Desire, because it has, I mean, Conversations with an Angel, you know, that was that. And then I honestly think the Earrings of Madame De is on there because it's the most beautiful camera work. I mean, yeah, I can't believe some of those shots. They're just extraordinary, and it's always a reminder of what we're all going for. Close Encounters of the Third Kind is also one of my favorite movies, and that was there because it was maniacal belief in something that seemed sort of crazy, but it was actually true, that I thought captured something about Barbie to me. Modern times, because of all the physical humor, of course. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's the best. Also, like, the rhythm of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like, there's that section where he gets on a train and he's a tramp on a train and sings, like, songs, and then he gets bored of it and falls off the train, and it takes, like, 60 seconds, and it's hilarious, but it's just, like, a really short thing. Grease, because Grease is great. It's a musical about the 1950s, but made in the 1970s, and everybody's 30. Love it. Anyway, I think I actually kind of hit all... I mean, Truman Show, of course, because Truman Show is amazing.
I was going to ask, because that's the most modern movie on your list as well, which
Yeah.
I appreciated your going back into the classics.
Well, yeah, and I had to include Truman Show, both because I watched it again before I made this movie, and because Peter Weir very generously got on the phone with me before I started shooting, and he talked to me for a long time about how he shot it and how they made it work, and they shot it actually outside, but they hung lights so it would feel like it was in a studio, and he told me, I don't suggest that, it was very hot. So anyway, those are all the things. Oh, and wait, one more.
Oh,
Mon Oncle, Jacques Tati.
Yes.
And also Playtime, Jacques Tati, which
I
is
was
not
gonna
on
bring
this
up
list.
Playtime,
Yeah, Playtime,
yes.
obviously Playtime is in. But Jacques Tati also, it's the king of the slow joke. The way those movies unfold are just so perfect, and I always thought of Mattel as existing slightly in Jacques Tati world.
Yeah, and those practical sets too in his
Incredible.
films. Oh my.
Amazing. Splash is another movie that is utterly charming and works emotionally, even though it's so high concept, and it's down to, Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks are so great. And it's a movie, I guess I'm sure the tagline was fish out of water, but it felt like a kind of crossing worlds movie that felt like, it's one I've loved since I was a kid too, so that was just to touch base with what made that work. And then Saturday Night Fever, I always had a sense of, wanting this to be like a movie with just an amazing soundtrack. And I thought Saturday Night Fever obviously has this incredible soundtrack by the Bee Gees, and I had watched, there's a documentary about the Bee Gees, and I'd seen it, and I was so touched by the Bee Gees, and I thought Barbie seemed so disco to me, actually, in her heart, because Barbie's sort of, and I will say this about disco as a lover of disco, Barbie and disco, little bit dorky in the best way. It had that quality, and Saturday Night Fever was like a kind of a movie that was driven by music, but not a musical. And I guess we're half of a musical.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't think dorky should be derogative. I agree.
No, I know. I always think of Margot saying, "Yay, space!"
Yeah.
And I think like that when she did that, I was like, "That's Barbie. Barbie is yay space."
Yes! Yay! Did you get through all of them?
Yeah, I did. I touched on all of them except for The Godfather, and we all know why The Godfather's in there.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
it's the triumph of Robert Evans and the Coppola's aesthetic genius.
Yes. We did it!
We did it!
I
All
can't
29.
believe it! Thank you,
I
Greta!
can't believe it. Thank you. Wow.
Perfect.
I
Okay,
love
well,
it.